All right, there we go.
All right. So tonight we have a very special treat for you. Everybody's favorite atheist outside of the friendly neighborhood atheist, who's kind of popular. JB, yay, JB, who just recently deconverted from Hawk Nelson along with the singer John Snyder and is here to tell us all about his deconversion process and give us all the facts about his who he is and why he's here. Welcome, JB. JB, woo! JB,
JB in the house.
you want to introduce yourself?
Um, I'm JB. There's not much else to me other than that at this point.
You well, tell them about yourself. I mean, you're on the show to talk about yourself, so a little
Yeah.
bit more information than I'm JB. There's nothing to say. All right, so let's close
Well,
her down, and there's nothing to say. That's JB, guys.
I mean, I don't know where you want me to go. I mean, I'm a
Introduce yourself. Tell us why
right.
what you do, why you're on Twitter, how long you've been on Twitter, things like that.
Okay, so I've been on Twitter for a lot longer than I've been engaging on Twitter. Um,
What do you mean?
Recently picked up on.
You've been
I've
watching people and reading tweets
I
and kind of secretly, covertly?
I created a Twitter account and did nothing with it. So
For
if you
how
look at
long?
my Twitter account, it's like 3 years probably.
Oh, did you know how to use it, or was it
Yeah,
just that you were?
I
Because
just did nothing
when
with
I
it.
first came on Twitter, it was about a year before I figured out how to use it. I wasn't really trying, but I couldn't figure it out. And I have friends now who can't figure it out, who I know don't know how to use it. Like they'll go on Twitter and they'll tweet me once, and they won't really know what they're doing, and they'll be like, "Yeah, it was cool." Um, so I was on Twitter for about a year before I figured out. Like I couldn't figure out who was seeing my tweets and how it was working. So you were on there reading along with like
I
what atheist tweets and stuff.
No, honestly, I didn't do anything with it really for the most part. I joined Twitter as um so you can go check my Twitter and I've got a whole bunch of like sports stuff that I follow, and that was the original reason that I got on Twitter. That's all I did was
Oh, I
follow
got you.
sports stuff. And basically followed players from the local university on their like football team and baseball team and stuff like that.
Okay.
Um and then became, I think like everybody, because they blew up like wildfire whenever it started, became a fan of the non-sex show. Um,
Oh, interesting. Well, now had you deconverted at that point, or was that a part of it? Because
I
you're
had already.
relatively recent. You're a recent atheist, right? How many
Oh yeah.
how how long has that been?
Oh, I want to say um 2016, probably three, four
Okay,
years.
so you had been an atheist for about a year or two before you started watching them.
Correct.
Okay, so they
Um,
didn't deconvert you. That's what I was trying to figure out. So
no,
they didn't have
and
anything to do with it.
the first show that I watched on them was actually the Kent Hovind R and Raw debate.
Oh, right. I didn't actually watch any of those. Were really combative, right?
Yeah, it
Were they
was. It was
funny?
what, the Kent Hovind debate or
Yeah.
non-sec in general?
No, in general, I've been on non-sec a bunch. You might have even
Yeah, I
seen.
know.
Did you?
That's where I first saw you. Kent Hovind was that debate was just a train wreck from the get-go. Arn Ra asked him a single question at the very beginning, and then held Kent Hovind's feet to the fire for about an hour and a half, repeatedly asking him the same question over and over, because Kent Hovind kept trying to skirt around it.
Interesting. I thought there was more than one. There was only one debate with him with those two. I
I
always.
think because Hovind refused to do anymore.
Oh, interesting. Okay, so wait. So you were deconverted in 2016. Now, what were you
Roughly.
like? What was your were you a Christian before that, or what was the
I
deal?
was born and raised Methodist.
Methodist. And what type of were you like? Is that kind of a fundamentalist, or what type of
No,
tradition was it?
it's Sygart's a Methodist. Let me put you in a perspective.
Oh, Cy Gart. I was thinking Cy Ten Bruggencate. I was like, what
No,
on
no,
earth?
no, no. That's a fundamental Baptist. That's a Reformed Baptist Calvinist. No, I was
Oh,
I was a moderate Christian. Nothing crazy. Nothing. I mean, I didn't run around and preached to people hellfire and brimstone. I didn't wasn't a younger creationist. I wasn't a science denier, evolution denier. Just normal, everyday Christian.
So just a
Probably close to
and where
you,
this is this is in North Carolina. Is that's still considered Bible Belt, right?
South Carolina. So we're
South
further
Carolina.
south. So we're more Bible Belt.
But it is Bible Belt, right?
It is Bible Belt. Yes, sir.
So would most of the people and your friends and family and what was it like in high school? Was it Christian environment?
Um, I mean, it's it's the South. So more people claim to be Christian than probably are Christian because it's the Bible Belt.
Right.
Um,
Yeah, that's a really
it's
weird. Yeah, that's a really strange reality because where I come from, being Christian is not kosher. There was, I mean, people were raised like I was raised nominally Roman Catholic, and most of my friends were part of like Presbyterian or something like that. Most of my friends were Jewish, but there was no such thing as an evangelical Christian in the town I grew up in. None. There was no such that didn't exist. There was nobody. So go
yeah,
ahead. So
so yeah, it's I mean everybody's Christian, but I mean Christian in South Carolina, high school was basically you go to church on Sundays, you may go occasionally on Wednesdays, and you have a cross necklace on.
right. And what were you like in high school? Were you shy Southern guy?
Oh,
Were you a party kid or like
I
you?
was I bounced around. I've never exactly had a box around me. So ninth grade, I was just a shy little kid. 10th grade, opened up a little more. Changed schools for 10th grade, and then went back to my original high school for 11th grade. And by the time I came back, you know how they always say like people smoke to fit in with the cool kids?
Right.
You know, well, all the cool kids, whenever I came back from my 11th grade year, I've known since middle school. I missed the year when they all started smoking. So I was like, well, I don't need to do that to get in with them because I've known them for 6 years already.
Right.
So,
So it was a
um,
small town where you knew basically
yeah,
small high
yeah,
school.
basically knew everybody. Hung out with a rough crowd, dropped out of school halfway through my 11th
Hung
grade
out
year.
with a rough crowd? What do you mean, like the
Oh,
boozers and the brawlers? You're
yeah,
kidding. No
no.
way. Wow. Were
We
you a
used to
football
fight.
player?
We did drug. No, we used to just fight people. We was doing. I mean, I hung out with the bad kids, like the bad kids.
No way. I never would have
Yeah,
guessed that.
we didn't. We didn't. I'll put it to you like this, Craig. We started our own gang because we didn't like the ones around the town.
What was your gang called?
We were
What
called. We
was
were
it?
called the. We were called the River Rats because we're from Casey down on the river.
Wow, that's really strange. There was
Yeah.
a town, there was a gang in my town. There was no such thing as gangs by the time I got into high school, but there was always when I was in like sixth or seventh grade, there was the River Rats and the Jocks. And those were supposedly the town gangs. I didn't know, I never saw them fight or anything like that. So I don't know if it's even true. But there were
Well,
supposedly the River Rats and the Jocks. But so you
I
named
was.
yourself after our town gang.
We were labeled as a gang. I mean, I wouldn't call us that much. We skipped school and hung at a friend's house playing old school Nintendo all day.
Right. So it's
Yeah.
just regular teenage stuff. You drank and smoked weed, things
Yeah,
like that.
yeah. They
Did you
they tried to
smoke?
make it.
So you weren't okay. So you weren't actually like getting into rumbles and dealing drugs. You were just kind of like you were
Uh,
troublemakers, but garden variety. Is that
dealt
kind of the
drugs for a
deal?
couple months.
Weed or
Um, sold weed for a little while. Sold crack once. Um, helped a couple people stay on the run from police for a little while. I've done a little bit of everything.
wow, this actually sounds closer. What type of town is this? Is this town close to cities, an urban
Yeah, it's
environment or
close.
something?
It's just outside of the capital city. So the only thing that
What,
divided us from the capital city was a river. So
I got you. Okay, so it's kind of similar, and it wasn't probably a wealthy town, right?
no, it wasn't. And a
So it
lot of the
was like a
stuff with the
working
drugs,
class town. So there was probably some gang
yeah,
activity in the actual town and some
yeah.
like legitimate. Okay, I get it because that happens in the valley out here. There's like I've never seen this, but I've heard that there are some some of the gang activity from LA proper, like South Central and stuff like that, has spilled over into the surrounding suburban neighborhoods. So it sounds like that's what happened where you grew up, right? That it
Yeah,
was
it
actually a
spilled
little
over.
bit more. It was a little bit more like when I was in high school, I grew up right next to the ghetto. Yonkers is basically the hood, and it borders on the Bronx, and that's where we
Yeah.
would go to buy weed. Like we drive down the road a mile away, and that's where we go to buy alcohol, things like that. But there was no gang activity in my town. It was all high school stuff, like drinking, But it sounds like
That's
there was some spillover from the urban into your town, right? Or
Yeah,
no?
yeah, there's a little bit of spillover. It was mostly just small town stuff. I mean, occasionally you'd have some big to do kind of things, but wasn't anything crazy
So you
overall.
were like, you were a fighter? Were you tough? I
Yeah.
can't picture this.
Well,
What happened? You just like you turned mellow when you became an atheist? You like, I don't need to fight
no,
anymore. I'm not a Christian.
I got
Wait,
I got mellow as I got older. I got out of that stuff.
okay. So
I
you
I
just sort of
decided a long time ago that I wasn't gonna do that anymore. I didn't need 30 people around me to handle the situation. I kept a small circle of about four, and I was like, I'm good with that.
interesting. So what were you like Christian wise? Were you actually Christian at this period in your life?
Uh, I was this period of my life, I would say I was Christian. I wasn't a church going Christian.
Okay,
So if
but
you had
you
asked
you
me, I would have told you that Jesus was God and stuff, but I didn't go to church at the time.
right because you were busy basically partying and
Well,
getting into
I
trouble
was
and
a high
doing things
school
like that.
kid. I mean, did you go to church in high school, Craig?
No, but I would not necessarily call myself a Christian at the time. I mean, we
Oh,
went
okay.
to
That's
we
fair.
went to church on we went to church on Easter and Christmas. We were nominally Roman Catholic. There was a lot of that where I grew up. People were technically something, but they didn't really practice it and they didn't necessarily believe it. So, a lot of my friends were secular Jews. A lot of my friends were secular Protestants, secular Catholic. I don't think I knew anybody who actually practiced their religion. People went to church Christmas, Easter. The Jewish kids I know went to like Hebrew school. But what? Tell me about the deconversion. How how many years
Okay.
past high school is this? This is
Well,
2016.
so I would have graduated in 2002. Dropped out 2001.
Dropped
Um,
out because of grades, or you were just into too much trouble, or what?
I
What do you
was
mean?
just skipping school every day, and I learned once you stop going to school, it's really hard to start going back.
Interesting. Okay, so what happened? You got a job or something?
Yeah, actually, one of my best friends through grade school, he's been a good friend of mine since second grade. Um, his mom and his aunt ran a gas station that we all worked at after school. Whole group of us
Mhm.
worked there after school.
Right.
So then after we all dropped out of school, because we all dropped out of school about the same time, and then we just went to work at the gas station full time. His mom was like, "Cool, so you aren't going to school? Well, you're now a full time employee here."
Interesting. Okay, so
I said, "Okay."
that was your main job for what most of your
So
20s
that
or what?
was up until 2006. Yeah,
2006. So because you're married now, right? And you have a
I
family.
am married. Have been married for 10 years. I have two kids, one 12 and one 8.
And okay, so take us up into the deconversion and like whatever you think is relevant, where you were working at the time and who your friends
All
were and
right.
things like that. Give us the
So
background so we understand
give
who
us the
we're dealing
background.
with. Yeah.
All right. Once I started going back to church, it was a huge deal for me. Once I started going back, I was all in. I wasn't a preacher type going out standing on street corners and stuff, but I mean, I was all in with it when I started going back.
Right.
Um, to where I worked as a delivery driver for Budweiser, and I literally had days where I sat down and said, "Do I need to be providing alcohol to people because this isn't a good thing for people to be getting drunk?" That was a moral dilemma that I had at the time,
Right.
and um, got back into church. My wife wanted to get into church because we were talking about getting married. And she said, well, she said, whenever we get married, I want to get married at a church that we're members of. She was like, so we need to find a church. So I
Okay.
said, okay, let's go. So, went to church. Was completely all in. Had one of my best friends that I met when I was working at Budweiser was in my wedding. He is a extreme fundamentalist. Extreme fundamentalist. Conspiracy theorist, fundamentalist, you name it. That's
Flat
it.
earther or no?
I would say yes, but I've never asked him.
Because you don't want to know.
Yeah. So, I mean, this is the guy that I talk to on a daily basis and was telling me that the Illuminati and the Jews were running the whole world. I mean,
Still talk to? Is he still a friend of yours?
yeah, he actually lives 4 houses down the street. We actually live in the same neighborhood.
Okay.
Um,
And he knows that you deconverted and you're an atheist now?
yeah,
Or?
yeah, because he was one of the ones that I talked to about it while I was going through it. So, what started me down the path was looking into scripture with him because it was always, the Bible says this, the Bible says this, the Bible says this. And I was like, I don't think it says what you think it's saying. So, I'd look into things like his whole thing. And I saw for a second, Digital Hammurabi was in the chat when I had it up for a second. So I'd love to have a talk with him about this at a later date. But one of the big things that
Dr. Josh is here now? Right here?
was, I don't know if
Oh.
he still is.
Yeah, we could get a chat with Dr. Josh. We could get
one of the things I'd like to talk to him about was one of the big sticking points that we had is the hotly contested debate over the morning star Lucifer that's in Isaiah. Is it? Is that the one in Isaiah or is that the one in Ezekiel? I can't remember which. About
what's where are you going with this? Tell me the thing. I don't.
Well, because if you look into it, the way I've understood it, the biggest thing on the Lucifer as far as is it's about an actual earth king. It's not about a devil. The word Lucifer stuck around from the Vulgate, which is a Latin word that they didn't have a translation for. It wasn't originally capitalized, used as a proper name, but that's where it came. That's what it turned to. So, and like I said, I could be completely wrong about all this. This is just, some of the many conversations that we had. And it was, we were having discussions about things like this. And this was one of them. And he was like, because his whole thing was he had an issue with people praying to other gods. Like these are the kind of things that we had like arguments with. He's like, well, people are doing things for Lucifer, and people are doing things for these other gods. And I was like, well, do the other gods exist? And he was like, no. And I was like, then why do you care if they're praying to him? It's like it doesn't matter. So we just kept having, fundamentalist conversations. And then so I started looking into more and more about stuff. And then one of the first things I started looking into was the concept of the Trinity. And so I started diving into the Trinity, watching videos after videos of it, because at the time I wasn't aware of a thing on Bible scholarship or, these arguments for and against and philosophy and stuff like that. And I was just coming into all of it. So
Right.
I started listening to discussions between Trinity and what is it, Unitarian? Is that what they are? The people that think that is.
Yeah, that's yes.
You know what I'm talking about, though.
Yeah.
So the discussions between that and about the formation of the Trinity and just those whole arguments, and then as everybody is aware of how YouTube works, YouTube's a rabbit hole. It runs an algorithm. You spend 4 days watching Trinity videos. Next thing you know, you're in 900 different theological discussions.
Right.
So started listening to them all day. That's all I started doing was just religious discussions. And then the biggest thing that hit me was I said, okay. I said, if I want to understand the religion that I am, which was Christian at the time.
Right.
I said, and understand all the stuff about the Christian religion. I said I need to go back to Judaism because Christianity came from Judaism. So if I want to learn about the roots of it, I need to go back where it started. So then I started going and listening to discussions with rabbis and Jewish teaching and things like that, and understood how the Jews had a completely different concept of everything than what Christians are raised on for the most part.
Okay.
And then just kind of put me in a complex situation for a while, and I just kind of sat there for a minute, just thinking about that. That lasted for probably about 6 months or so. And I even made the comment to my wife. I was like, I said, I said, if I could give up eating bacon, I'd probably become Jewish. And she just looked at me. She was like, I don't think that's how it works. I was like, well, maybe it is. I don't know.
So wait, I don't actually fully understand what you're telling me.
Ask me
So
questions.
you were a Christian and you had this friend who was a fundamentalist Christian, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you and your wife started going to church a lot, and now you're fairly to pretty committed Christian. Is that what happened?
Yeah, I was.
Okay. And then you
I
start.
was completely committed. I'll say I was completely committed. I've thought about this discussion because you and I have kicked around having these discussions for a while. I'll put it to you like this, Greg. My daughter, we had 3 family members move in with us. My daughter was sexually assaulted, and we had to remove the other kids from our home because one of them is what did it. Yeah, yeah. My daughter was sexually assaulted by one of her cousins, so we had to completely remove them from the home. The comment I made to my wife about it was, God did this because we need to spend more time on our family and not somebody else's.
Wow, that's
that was my understanding of the situation.
Okay.
At the time.
And then so wait, so what? Okay, so go ahead.
No, go ahead. You got questions? I mean, if you want me to clarify anything, I'll be glad to clarify. I've kind of been talking and rambling.
Well, no, I'm trying to understand the trajectory. So you're friends with this kid, and then you're a committed Christian, and then you start having questions about certain things in the Bible. Is that kind of what happened? Then
That's
that leads you to YouTube, and then
that leads me to. Well, the reason I turned to YouTube was because that's what he kept sending me was, hey, watch this YouTube video. And that's honestly where I first heard about Kent Hovind, because he was like, watch this YouTube video. Watch this YouTube video.
So he was like a Kent Hovind type Christian, and he was trying to say, like, were you presenting this stuff to him as questions? And he was saying, you got to watch Kent Hovind because he'll solve all this.
Yeah. Well, he wasn't saying it was solving all of it. He was like, he was just using that as a way to try to like keep me convinced of his way of thinking, because that's what he had bought into. And I understood that. I understood not all Christians were like that. But there was many questions that started me down the path.
Okay, so tell me, so you start watching YouTube videos, is that kind of what?
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I'm hearing. That's kind of what got you went from Christian to atheist, and why? Yeah. What, like, who'd you latch onto? And I mean, it wasn't just that you had questions about the Bible, right? You didn't just go, I've got questions about the Bible. Okay, so tell me about the what actually, somewhere along the way you said, I don't believe in God anymore because what happened?
Hold on one second, Craig.
Sure. Who's that? Is that your wife?
No, that's my son.
How old are your kids?
12 and 8.
By the way, what was the thing you were on? You were on Scott Clifton's. What were you on?
It was a Discord chat.
Was that the like one of the first live chats you were on with?
No, the first live chat I was on was the one with you on Nathan Orman's channel. It was me, you, Pine Creek, and Sentinel Apologetics.
Right. But then you were on Dry Pilot. So that was the third one you were
So
on. But that was
Dry
the first
Pilot.
one you were on
Well,
with people like Shannon and Ocean and
correct.
Scott Clifton, right? Okay. Now
Yeah.
those were probably pretty influential people in the last couple of
Eventually, but
years, right?
well, in the last couple of years, yes. But
Okay, so tell me how you got atheist. How'd we get from Christian to atheist? Because you started watching YouTube videos, or you started watching Ken Hovind and said this guy doesn't know what time it is, or what?
so
How'd it go?
started watching YouTube videos and started getting an understanding of some of the different aspects of Christianity that I never thought about. And I didn't agree with them. And it wasn't because I didn't agree with them that they were wrong. It was I just wanted a better understanding of the religion in general.
Like what? Like what? Anything you can remember specifically, or
Um,
I mean, if you
evolution
can't.
was one.
Okay.
Because it just didn't make sense to me. Um, and it still hasn't. Um, the whole thing with the issues between an Old Testament and a New Testament never vibed with me once I looked into it.
What do you mean?
Um,
Like the challenging parts of the Old Testament, or
just the fact that Jesus doesn't resemble what the Jews were looking for in a Messiah is a big part of it.
so that was a big question for you when you were
Yes.
looking through yourself. You're like, Jesus isn't who the Jews were looking for.
Yes.
Okay. Interesting.
That,
Okay.
that that was a big point for me. And if Jesus is not the said Messiah, then Christianity isn't true. That's full stop. You can put it on the resurrection or him being the Messiah, however you want to put it. If he's not the Messiah, Christianity's false. It's done.
Okay. So
And they don't reconcile to me between the two. So I leaned more towards the Old Testament and started looking into it because I wanted to understand what their point on it was. So looked into that, was looking into stuff for that, and then there's a YouTube rabbit hole kind of thing, and started going down and watching discussions and debates on philosophy and religion, and of course, everybody's favorite atheist, Christopher Hitchens. I watched a good bit of him.
mm-hmm.
See, that's what you wanted to hear, isn't it, Craig?
What do you mean?
You wanted to hear Christopher Hitchens' name.
Yeah, exactly.
So, and then it just got to the point where I just didn't buy it anymore. Like I can't tell you exactly what did it. I can tell you the moment I came out to my wife about it, and it was the absolute worst time I ever could have done it.
What do you mean? Why?
My grandmother's funeral.
Ooh, that's probably not good
Actually,
timing.
my grandmother's the night before my grandma's funeral. We did the wake, and then we went to dinner as a family. And then my wife looked at me and said, "We need to get back into church," because we had stopped going because we had moved recently, and
Right.
it became a longer drive to go to the church that we were to. And we just kept finding excuses not to do it. I mean, it's we're all creatures of habit. Once you get out of a habit, it's easy to stop doing it, you know?
Yeah, totally.
And so we she was like, "We need to start going back to church." And I just kind of looked at her, I was like, "No, I don't really want to." She was like, "Why?" I was like, "Don't worry about it." She was like, "Why?" I was like, "Just because I don't believe it anymore." And that was a huge issue for a while in my household.
Between you and her, she's still a
Yeah,
Christian, right?
she's still a Christian.
Does she go to church? Is she like a committed Christian, or is she just kind of?
She goes to church occasionally, not as often as she wants to. But I don't
Right.
stop her. She's free to go anytime she wants to. I told her, she was like, "Look," she goes, "This is what I want to believe." She was like, "I don't want you to try to talk me out of it. This is how I was raised, and this is what I'm doing." I said, okay. I just want you to understand where I'm at.
Cool.
I have never had the conversation with my kids about it. My daughter's
What are
12,
are
my
you
son is
raising
8.
your kids? Are you raising your kids in a faith? Are they kind of Christian, or what? How
Both
are you
my
handling that?
kids, both my kids, if I had to define them, would be Christian.
So are they attending
Um,
like Christian? Do they go to Sunday school, things like that? Or I don't
if
even know
whenever
what.
if they go to church, then they do. So I mean, like I said, if my wife goes to church, they go to church with her. My wife
Okay,
goes to
so
church for
so
Easter.
basically, if she takes them to church, they go to church, and they'd probably say they were Christian if somebody asked, but they're not. It's
Uh,
not really. It's not that big a
my
part
daughter
of.
is. My daughter is.
Just
We
because your
just
daughter's
we
in.
had a well, she's my daughter is doing. She goes to church whenever they go. She says she needs to go to church more. She does the prayer at the flagpoles at school. She's a member of the fellow Christian athletes at her school. My daughter's in it.
Okay, so she's on board. She's
Yeah,
not all in, but she's partially in for the
yeah. She's on
Christian.
the way there.
Okay.
She's on the way there. I have not talked to either one of them about me walking away, but I've told my wife that I wasn't going to do that. But if they ask, I will be honest with them.
So you started getting questions, and then you started like watching videos, and you started kind of internally deconverting, and then you got on Twitter just to watch sports and things like that. But then somewhere along the
Oh
way, you
well,
kind of
I was I was already on Twitter. I just never used it hardly ever.
right,
So the reason I got active on Twitter was because of the non-sex show, and I did it as a way to keep up with the shows that they had coming out because they were doing shows daily.
right. Yeah, I remember some of those early shows. What were some of the things that you watched on the early shows?
Oh,
They
there
did.
was
They
the Ken
weren't.
Hovind
They
Aaron Ra
weren't
debate.
active. That I mean, they only lasted for about a
They
year
weren't
and a
at
half,
first.
right?
Yeah, yeah, but they were doing. I mean, once they got going full swing, they were doing shows every day, sometimes 2 shows a day.
Right, but they weren't around for all that long. Is the
No,
only
no,
the
that's why I haven't been on Twitter
strange.
that long.
Yeah, no,
I
I
got
know.
on, I got on, I got on Twitter, started doing non-sec, and then shortly after that, I started following Steve. And then shortly after that, it was GE and his wife, and Shannon and Paula Gia and Vice Rhino, and um,
Right. So
all the
then you
big
started
names.
to get the whole become part of the whole crew.
Yeah, yep. Started to slowly work my way into the crew on Twitter.
Now, what were some of the early non-sec debates? Because I think I've seen
Um,
some of them.
Matt Dillahunty, Inspiring Philosophy.
Oh, you
So
watched that
Dillahunty,
one,
Mike
yeah.
Jones. I watched that one. I've actually talked to you about that one on Twitter. Um, uh, Eric, Kent Hovind and Aaron Ra. Um, dang, I'm trying to think what all was there. I want to say RCA and GE did a mythicist
Oh, yeah,
debate
they
on there.
did, didn't they? I don't think I watched that. Yeah, RCA shows up at a lot of these debates. I think he did a debate with Aaron Rod too. I'm pretty sure
Yeah,
he was
on the
on there.
flood. Yeah, yep, they did on the flood. On whether it was
Wow.
a worldwide flood or local.
So now, are you going
Um,
to try to? Are you going to try to get involved in debates, or what? What are you shy, or what's going on with you? Because you're
I don't
active on
know.
Twitter, and
Yeah,
you're
I'm
working
active
on
on Twitter. Twitter.
you're working on your gift game. But what's your overall comprehensive take over the world for atheism strategy? Do you have one?
Yeah, I've got 3 people I've got to convince that atheism is true. And that's Jesus, God, and the Holy Spirit.
Okay.
So,
So what's
no,
your
I don't know what my end game is. I've looked at debates. Debates look fun. Um, I'm more of if I mean we've interacted on
can you
Twitter. I've
hear that?
interacted.
Can you hear the cat? Is that coming out
Yeah,
on the? All
yeah.
right,
Is that your
I gotta
cat?
put. Yes, it's being noisy. I wasn't sure
It's
if
an alley
people
cat.
could. No, she's a sweetheart. She's just being ornery right now. She's the sweetest cat in the world. All right, so you don't really have a atheist strategy
I
on
don't.
Twitter and YouTube. You're thinking
I,
of
I
starting a YouTube channel. Is that the deal? But you're not sure.
I've I've thought about it. I'm not sure. I'm not invested either way. Um, I don't know if I'm gonna do debates. They look fun, but I mean, like I was about to say, I've interacted with you on Twitter, Ryder John Buck on Twitter. I interact with Steven Steen constantly on Twitter.
Yes.
Anybody that's interacted with me on Twitter knows that I'm more of a conversation. Let's find a common ground and hash things out than I am a debate me, bro.
Right. Yeah.
So
No, definitely. I'm just wondering if you have any sort of like plan for, are you thinking about doing things in the space? If you have any sort of, you know,
I don't know. I'm interested in getting into more discussions than I am debates. I mean, I wouldn't mind having, discussions with you or with John or with Caleb or Converse Contender or some of the fellow Christians that have actually shown that they're willing to have conversations and not want to not want to have arguments all the time.
right.
Where you can actually have discussions and you can leave away at the end of the day and say, okay, I understand where you're coming from, but I don't agree with it. And they're like, well, I understand where you're coming from, but I don't agree with that. And then, that's what you got.
Right. So basically you're just, yeah, okay. So you converse with people who are into having conversations, and you're definitely not looking for a quarrel. I know that. But
Nah, no way, shape, or form.
now tell me about when you were on the Discord. You've been following Shannon for, that's how I first knew about you, by the way. The first time Shannon came on my channel, that's the first time I met you. You sort of showed up with her and you were like, if I like the interview, I'll subscribe to your channel. I was like, who? I didn't know you. But by the way, I never knew that you were a guy. For a long time, I thought you were a woman because you're a very gender neutral Twitter feed. And for some reason, I had it in my mind that you were a woman. So
I appreciate that, Craig.
I even said things to you that I'm surprised you didn't catch. I said stuff like "lovely." I'd call you like flirty day. I thought you were, for some reason, I always thought you were a woman. I guess because you showed up with Shannon and like, I don't know, but you never picked up on that. So
No, I didn't.
So that's the first time I met you. When Shannon, the first time I interviewed Shannon, you showed up. And you were like, I might subscribe to your channel if I like the interview. Do you remember this at all? Because I don't think I'd known you before that. I had any idea who you were.
We had a small interaction before that on Twitter because I sent you something that you had posted, and then you responded to me with a video as opposed to actually replying to me directly.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I don't remember what we were talking about, though. I
I don't
vaguely
remember what it
remember.
was either.
Um,
And then, yeah, and as a matter of fact, with Shannon actually first on the non-sex show.
was Shannon what? What?
Was on the non-sex show. That's when I first found Shannon and Ocean and Cirrus and all of them.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So that was basically your bridge into the community at large. You started out watching the non-secular show, and then you started meeting some of the people who were on the show, right? That's more or less what happened. Now, you like Shannon? You watch her videos pretty regularly. Who are the other people who you think speak for atheism well? Probably Scott Clifton. Did you know him before?
No, I didn't
with
actually. Not at
earlier
all.
channels. So when you were on his Discord, that was the first time you kind of knew who he was.
The first time I saw Scott Clifton, he was on the non-sex show.
Okay, and what was it? Was it a debate or was he being? I don't remember.
Just a discussion. I don't even remember what it was.
Right, but
Something
you
on
don't.
philosophy.
so you don't know his history from because he had a channel way back when that was
Yeah, I've
relatively
heard him
well
talk
known.
about it. Yeah, I've
Right.
heard him talk about it, but I
Okay.
had no idea who he was.
So tell me about like your impressions of atheism now, like who you're interested in, why, what they're talking about that you think is relevant, all that type of stuff.
Um, so let's see here. Who's relevant now? Um, Probably my go-tos that I watch that I do the most regular are going to be Skylar Fiction, um, him and Dr. Josh. Uh,
That's the thing
I
you watch the
watch,
most regularly, really? That's interesting.
yeah,
How come?
yeah,
Why is that? Because of the
that
interchange between those two, or
that one, and I've had people ask me that before, and I've told them that that one is that that's the one where you just kind of like kick back, where you. I don't go there looking for that one's pure entertainment. That's the one where you just go and just have a good time.
right? You're like hanging out with your friends, having a cold one. That's like
Yeah.
that's how it feels. You're like hanging out with people that you like. And are you on live chats? Are you interactive, or are you just kind of
I
watching?
no
Because
because
you work pretty much a lot, right? So you're
yeah, I
watching a lot
work
of this
crazy
stuff.
hours. I go into work
What
usually around like 2 or 3 in the morning, and um
wait, why? Are you a trucker or something?
yeah, truck driver.
Oh, so do you do these long like do you
But I'm
take are you
no,
actually like
I stay
interstate?
local. I'm home every night.
Okay, okay, but
Oh
it's
yeah,
okay. Because I had a friend who did that for a while, and he was driving like don't they do like crazy like they'll drive for like 3 days straight, interstate trucking, or is that do I have the right impression of that? Is that how that works?
yeah. Some of them do, but I don't.
So it's
I
just a
don't.
daily, it's like a daily job, but
Yeah.
it's long hours.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
what
It's
are you
about
doing? Just shipping stuff around South Carolina?
South Carolina, um, parts of Georgia, parts of North Carolina. I've gone to Florida, but they're all day runs, down and
Even
back in the
Florida
same
is
day.
it day run?
Yeah.
How far is
Yeah.
Florida from South Carolina?
It depends on where you go. You can get to Orlando in 8 hours.
Oh wow, I didn't know that. I've actually never been to the South. My wife goes to Miami. Her father's originally grew up there, so she'll fly there every once in a while just to hang out with him. Maybe like once a year, actually, just to like hang out for 3 days. But so far, I haven't gone with her. I've actually never been to the South. Am I gonna like it? Will I like the South? What do you think?
No, you won't.
I won't. Well, why? It's
No, because
too
you're
slow.
from New York. You're from New York, and now you live in Cali. You're not gonna like the South. It's a completely different world than anything you're used to. We walk slow.
Hmm.
We talk slow. It's all mellow. We wave at everybody when they walk by. You
Yeah,
won't know what to think.
that's true. Well, that is even true when you first come to LA from New York. People smile at you, and you're kind of like, "What on earth? What are you smiling about? What do you want?" That throws you when you first come to LA. My wife pointed that out. And actually, even when you get out of the greater New York area, and you're like, go to Massachusetts, it's like miles. People are so much nicer. Um, so, have you been to New York City?
I've been
I think you
twice.
have. And
I've been twice. I went.
weren't we talking about that on Twitter? Didn't you post like
Yeah.
where'd you go?
Yeah. Um. So the first time I went to New York was in 2006, and we went on vacation and we're staying in Pennsylvania. And the resort that we were staying at, we took a day trip up to New York. It was just like a New York tour thing, and they took us
Uh,
around some of the other parts of New York and dropped us off in Times Square. It was basically like, all right, you need to be back here in like 4 hours or something like that. So we walked and explored New York. We went from Times Square to Central Park, and then pretty much back to Times Square. It was about the only exploring that I did. And a really quick story about that I always thought was kind of funny was just before we went to New York, I'd been playing the Godfather video game on Xbox for like a month straight. So when we went to New York, I actually had New York mapped out because of the video game,
Oh wow, that's
because the
funny.
streets had the same names. And I was like, all right, we need to go 3 blocks this way and then take a left.
And it was all accurate. That's
Yeah,
wow. That's really
yeah.
weird.
Um, and then the second time we went was last year. We went to Pennsylvania again and went to Hershey Park for a couple days. And then we left and drove to New York and spent 2 nights in New York because
Where'd
we
you
were already up
stay?
there.
Where'd you stay? In a hotel in New York City? In Manhattan?
Yeah, stayed in a hotel, somewhere on Fifth Avenue. So yeah, I guess Manhattan.
Wow, interesting. So what was that? What is that like coming from the South? That must have been. That's got to
Oh,
be a
it's crazy.
trip.
It's
I mean,
crazy.
how do you? How did
It's
you even
ridiculous.
process it? Because like, I mean, there's no even city that's close to that in the South.
There's not. There's
I mean,
not. I've been to all the big cities in the South. There's nothing even close to it. Yeah, we spent so we got up there the first day, spent checked into the room. It was probably about 4 or 5. Left, walked down to Times Square, sat down and had dinner, walked around Times Square that night, went back to the room. Next day we got up and the wife wanted to go see Rockefeller Plaza. So we got up and walked there. And then we walked to
oh,
Central
that's
Park.
cool. Was this Christmas time?
No, this was in August. No, yeah,
Okay,
no, June. June or July. July, late July.
okay.
And then we walked from Rockefeller Plaza to Central Park. Got to I can't remember what it's called, but like the big like fountain thing in Central Park they have in all the movies or whatever. And then
Big fountain thing they have in all the
Bethesda's
movies.
Cathedral or something like that. What is that?
I actually don't know. Is it the
Oh my
boathouse?
gosh, you're from there.
My sister got married there in Central Park at the boathouse.
So
There's a reservoir with like this. It's a really beautiful place.
so we
Um,
went to that and then turned around and left. Walked back out of Central Park, took a cab from Central Park to Chelsea Market because I'm a huge cooking fan, and Food Network is actually stationed at Chelsea Market.
oh, is it really?
So yeah, so I wanted to go check out what all Chelsea Market was about. Walked through a bunch of the shops in Chelsea Market, left there, and then made the ridiculous mistake of walking from Chelsea Market to World Trade Center Plaza One. One
Wait,
World
is
Trade Center.
Chelsea Market actually at Chelsea? What streets is it? Is it the actual Chelsea
Oh
neighborhood?
yeah, I think.
Well, I don't know
I
where
don't
I
know.
don't know where Chelsea Market is, but what streets was it? Like, what were the cross
I have
streets?
no idea. I have
Seventh
no
Avenue and
idea.
21st, something like that.
Look, dude, I got in a cab and said, "We're going to Chelsea Market," and he was like, "Okay."
Oh, okay. Because I'm wondering if they just use the name or if it's actual in Chelsea.
um, and then we walked to the new World Trade Center. Um, Looked at it. Then we took a cab to one of the piers and took a boat ride out around the Statue of Liberty.
Oh, that's cool.
And then we came back, and my kids were fussing about the pizza at Hershey Park whenever we were at Hershey Park. So we left the boat ride for Statue of Liberty and walked about 2 blocks up the road and got some New York pizza because you have to if you're in New York.
Yeah, totally.
And then went back to Times Square for about an hour that night, and then walked back to the room. And it was probably 11 something. We got to the room that night, and then we got it the next morning, and my daughter had to go check out the oh gosh, I don't remember what it's called. Say Yes to the Dress is filmed there. Kleinfeld's bridal shop. She
Oh,
wanted
okay.
to go walk in, so we went by there and she walked in, took a couple pictures, and then we left and came. Drove from New York to South Carolina, and that was a ridiculously long drive.
Wow, that's wild. Yeah, New York has got to be totally overwhelming though,
Yeah, it
coming
is.
from the
It's a lot.
South. Because it's even when you're with you match it to European cities, it doesn't seem European cities, even like London, Paris, and Rome, don't seem like cities compared to New York. it's a little bit weird when you're actually in these places because New York is so much more aggressively like urban than almost any place else I've ever. Probably it's not true of like Hong Kong or Tokyo, but it's true of everywhere in Europe and everywhere basically in the country. Might not be true of Chicago. I've never been to Chicago because it's
I
so
want to
much
go
more
back.
like, yeah, it's fun. I remember once when
I
I
want
was,
to
I think
go
when
ahead.
I was, I think I was on Fifth Avenue. I forget what I was doing, but I was walking down the street and I just started counting the people walking past me and I got up to 3,000 within like 15 minutes before I just stopped. I mean, it's
Now,
crazy. There's nothing like, nothing else. No other place in the world is like it in terms of how
I want
compact
to
it is.
I want to go back. Didn't get to do everything we wanted to do while we were there because I mean, if you're going to like Manhattan, I mean, Manhattan's so huge, you're not going to get everything done you want to if you're just trying to go there and see things as a tourist.
Yeah, no way. You can live there for 3 years and not get everything done that you would want to do. I mean, you can. That's an ongoing thing. But you didn't go down to the East Village or Greenwich Village, any place like that, right?
Nah, we stayed right over there in Manhattan, right there
You went.
downtown. Like I said, we went from Central Park to One World Trade Plaza. It was about all that we did.
Okay. Yeah, my
I went
wife
down
actually.
to,
My sister lives right there, right by Central Park.
I want to say it was Pier 7 we went to catch a boat to the Statue of Liberty.
Yeah, could be.
Hey, I drove in New York and I'm from the South, so I'll call that a win.
Yeah, totally. How was the rebuilt? Tell me about the World Trade Center area.
It's huge. It's huge. They've got, I mean, we didn't get to go in because they had stuff closed off. I mean, we got there so late in the day and stuff. We didn't even try to do any of the tour stuff with it. The first time we went to New York was in 2006, and when we got there in 2006, there were still two big holes in the ground at 9/11
Right.
or at trade centers. And I mean, I've told everybody this. I mean, you want to talk about a humbling experience? We went in 2006, and you walk to the church across the street, and they still had missing people posters hanging up. Almost 5 years later.
Wow.
I mean, you want to talk about something that kind of like hits you immediately. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally. A lot of my family were actually there. My brother-in-law saw it happened outside of his office window. Like they looked out the window as it was happening, and then he'll tell you the story that blow your mind where they had to walk back. All the subways were shut down, and it was like the end of the world. It was like basically the apocalypse. And they walked back. He walked back up to the Upper West Side from his job and down on Wall Street. And nobody knew at the time. People forget this now, but if you were in New York at the time, you didn't know that it was only those two buildings that were going to go. You
Oh,
know,
I can imagine.
you and the subways are all shut down. The place is going crazy, and it's like pandemonium. But you don't know that that's the end of it. You're walking back like, what else? What else is going to happen? You know what I mean? So
Yeah, you know what I did on that? You know what I did on September 11th, 2001?
no, what'd you do
Went and had my braces removed.
in honor of the World Trade Center bombing, or you were
No,
just
it was
happen to be
already it
doing
was
it?
scheduled. It was scheduled.
Okay.
That's when I was going to get my braces removed. I was wearing braces in high school, and I went to go get my braces removed that day. And I slept through the first plane hitting. My stepmom woke me up, was telling me that they were attacking the U.S. And I said, a plane hit a building. It's no big deal. And then I woke woke back up a little bit later and saw that a second plane had hit the other building. I was like, now that's not a coincidence.
Yeah, definitely not. My dad used to have an office in the World Trade Center, actually, long before the towers came down. And
And that was another.
a really weird piece of trivia is that was the second World Trade Center bombing. I was there at the first one. There was a bomb or a
In
bomb
the
scare.
garage.
Yeah, I was there when that
Yeah.
happened. I was like selling temps on Wall Street, and I was
That was in
right
the
at the World.
90s, wasn't it?
Yeah, and
That
I
was like
was there. I was
96 or something.
Yeah, I was there that day. I was at the World Trade Center when that happened. I don't
And
really remember it that well. I just remember being in the crowd walking around. Like,
here's Here's a cool piece of trivia for you. My fundamentalist buddy that I was telling you about earlier,
Yeah.
he's also a 9/11 truther. So just
Oh,
go ahead and just
what's the truth about 9/11? What's the
oh,
actual
that it
truth?
was an
George
inside
Bush?
job and it was done with explosives and
Why
you
though?
know
Because George Bush wanted the Iraq War? Is that
George Bush wanted a reason to go to war, and because money was missing from the Pentagon, and there was a CIA office in the World Trade Center. And I told the guy, I said, "Look, dude, I said paper shredders work a lot easier than bombs."
wait, what's the
I mean,
wait, so what's the CIA has an off so you blow up the CIA to
yeah,
get
to
rid of
to get
the
rid of
paper
the fact that
trail?
they're missing money. Yeah, yeah,
Well, but
yeah.
that doesn't get rid of missing money.
It
Does it?
doesn't.
I mean, the CIA building blew up. Okay, well now you're still in debt. I mean, how does that
It
help
doesn't.
you?
It
I mean,
doesn't.
that's
It doesn't.
that's not very good truther. Tell him that he's gotta get some better conspiracy theories going. If that's his like calling card. There's some that are plausible, but the one that you just mentioned isn't all that
Well,
plausible.
I I did I did the math one day with him because I used to entertain him, and I actually did the math, and I said, "Okay, dude," I said the amount of TNT that would have been needed to bring down the Twin Towers would have been the equivalent of a couple of nuclear bombs. I was like, the sonic wave by itself would have just like gotten rid of Manhattan.
Right. Well, how does he explain the planes themselves?
Oh,
They were actors or
he
stunt doubles or
varies.
something?
He varies on that. He's actually told me at one point in time there were no planes. So, I mean, depends on which day you catch him on.
Now, does the non sequitur show this? Did they used to have flat earther debates? Didn't they? Didn't they have like
Yes,
flat
they
Earth
did.
Saturday or something? Did
Yep.
you watch those?
Flatter
What was
Day
it?
Night is what they call them. About the only time I watched the flat Earth debates was when Reg Rhetoric was on because he just trolls flat earthers so bad that it was entertaining.
Oh, he's one of the people who debates them. I didn't know that. I
Yeah,
know
but
he's
he
associated with
does.
he's friends with Steve McRae and he was on that channel a lot, right?
Yeah, but if you ever check like his Twitter account or his YouTube channel and stuff, he does a bunch of filming. He goes down to Cape Canaveral and films the rocket launches and stuff. So he's big into space stuff. So
I
that's
got you. So what's the actual like? I've never watched a flat Earth debate, and I'm very curious as to what's the actual justification. Like, what's going on? What are they actually arguing?
that you see
Because
no curve when you look across a plane.
right, but is that the only piece of evidence, or do they bring up other? Like, what
Yes,
do they? How do they justify like satellites and space stations
satellites
and
don't exist. Satellites don't exist. Space stations don't exist. NASA makes $50 million a year to feed us lies. They don't have any pictures from space. It's all made up in a computer.
is that really what they think?
Yes,
So
dude.
they literally think that everything that we think we know has been a lie, like a total conspiracy lie. They think that
Yes,
pictures from space aren't actual pictures from space; they're concocted.
yes, yes. And every flat earther I have met has said because the earth is flat, because the Bible says so. So it can't be round. So they have
Oh,
to
there! I
believe
didn't
that and
realize
throw out everything away.
there were also Christians. I didn't
Yes,
realize that.
I've never seen a flat earth atheist. Although I think Seth Andrews said he found one time.
Wow, wow, interesting. So, how do they get into these debates? What happens in the debate? I can't even imagine how that goes down.
It doesn't. It's basically somebody that thinks of the person who knows the earth is round. I'm going to say no because it's knowledge that's true. Basically spends the entire debate giving a math lesson to the people who think the earth is flat.
And how do they counter it? Like, what do they do? Everything you know about reality is not true. I mean, how could
Yeah,
that?
dude, there was somebody one time on the non-sex show that literally argued that space was all a simulation and that the size of the sun didn't move because the sun wasn't real.
Wow, weird, weird, weird. No, it's always occurred to me. I've never bothered to check. I've never even bothered to watch a flat Earth debate because I don't know. I just never did. So I don't even know what the justification is, like why they're saying what they're saying. And you honestly think they believe it? Do they really believe what they're saying, or are they just?
Some of them do. Some of them do. The other ones, I don't even know. I mean, I don't know how you can. I
And
mean, you can do an experiment in your front yard.
outside of the context of this, out of this particular thing that they believe, are they otherwise normal, or are they totally
Yeah,
insane?
as far as I can tell, they're otherwise normal. They just don't believe in space.
And they think like Russians are in. I mean, everybody in the world would have to be in on faking it. It's
Correct,
not
which
just
makes it even
NASA,
crazier.
right? It can't just be not NASA that's faking it. It would have to be Russia, China, have to be every
Yeah.
single country in the world. Wow.
Yes. The One of the biggest arguments I've heard, one of the biggest knockdowns I've heard to us not going to space was, what was it? I think Russia were the first ones to space. We were the first ones to the moon. Okay, if we hadn't have gone to the moon, do you think Russia would have wasted any time exposing that in the 1960s?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, the moon landing fake is another one. The moon landing fake is another one, isn't that? Isn't that a famous conspiracy
Yeah.
theory too?
Yeah, I bought that one for a little while I was in high school. I'll own that one because somebody
The
raised some
only
good
one that I think
questions.
is convincing, and I actually think it's probably there's something to it for sure, is the Kennedy assassination. Now something's up. I buy it. There's something wrong. Something doesn't quite compute. Like I could easily see either, that they say that Lee Harvey Oswald didn't act alone. That seems perfectly
Uh,
plausible. That doesn't seem like that outlandish. You know what I mean?
Speaking of those two, this is a rough outline of what I came up with in high school. The moon landing was faked. Kennedy was assassinated to cover up the fake moon landing.
That's what you were. That's where you were at in high school. Why would they?
Yeah,
What,
yeah.
and what were your friends like? Dude, that's so awesome, man. You're so on it.
No,
That's that joy.
I'll be honest with you. It was in 10th grade. It was in 10th grade, and I had never thought about the moon landing being faked. And I had somebody that I had a couple classes with. You know, you have somebody in high school, you have a couple classes with them, you sit next to them, you get to know each other. You know what I mean?
Right,
Even if it's just in class.
right.
And he said something about it one day. And he was like, look, dude, he was like, shadows are off on this. He's like, there's this, there's this. He came with the typical evidence, and I didn't look into any of it. I was like, I mean, that's a pretty good case. And I watched I want to say I watched like a History Channel or Discovery Channel episode on it one time where they had people arguing against the moon landing. And I was convinced of it. There was things of the Van Allen radiation belt that would have to go through to get to the moon. There's the lack of exhaust on the moon rover leaving the moon whenever they go to leave.
Right, but
The footprint on the moon.
It's not just coming up for evidence. You got to actually explain away the
Correct.
facts that everybody knows. That's the part where it's crazy. That's why the JFK is eminently plausible. You don't have to explain away weird things or fact. There are actually facts that are really hard to reconcile with it not being a conspiracy. You know what I mean? Like the actual.
Correct.
I don't know if you like. I don't know it that well. I just remember on the anniversary, I watched a couple of the JFK conspiracy shows, and I was like,
Yeah, I've watched a bunch of stuff on JFK.
There are actual facts involved that are like, first of all, the fact that Bobby Kennedy gets assassinated a little later is like really suspicious, you know?
Yeah, but my whole thing was with tying it to the moon landing was that NASA wanted to get to the moon. We knew we couldn't do it. We knew we weren't going to beat Russia. So we came up with the idea of staging a moon landing to push back against the Soviet state of Russia and put trust back in America again from the American people.
Right.
So naturally, this is happening by NASA. You have to get approval from the president, correct? I mean, you would think that's how it goes.
Right.
Kennedy was one of the most people presidents there is. I mean, he was the guy that's sitting in the car. He's the guy that's out shaking hands at talks. He's the guy that's talking to the people. You know what I mean?
Right. Totally.
NASA gets scared. NASA kills him. NASA kills Bobby. They wait from 64 to 69 so that if he does say anything to anybody, they've got an extra 5-year cushion there where nobody's going to think anything crazy. And if anybody says anything, they're going to look stupid because it doesn't happen for another 5 years to where they finally staged the moon landing in 69. And now nobody knows any different.
So when you shopped this theory around, you had takers?
No.
No?
Nobody took it. No, I didn't either. I didn't either. I just found a way to keep connecting dots.
I got you. So you weren't really shopping this theory around. It was just something.
No, I wasn't.
And
I wasn't. It was just something that I thought of, and I was like, I bet you we can tie these two together.
Oh, I got you. Okay, so it wasn't. So did you watch? Did you say you actually watched some of the flat Earth debates, or no, you did not watch them?
Yeah, I did. And real quick, I want to clear this up because you kind of asked me earlier, and I didn't really get into it.
What?
Because of my crazy hours, I don't do much on live streams. I usually watch everything like the next day.
Yeah, that's why I asked you, because I kind of already pieced that together, that you were too busy to watch a lot of stuff live, so you were watching.
Yeah,
after.
I do truck driving. I do truck driving and delivery, so I spend roughly close to 7 hours on the road a day driving. That's just driving, not counting the other work on top of it. So I mean, that's perfect time to just ride and listen.
Right, but you're not doing live streaming. You're playing things back that have already, and you're not interacting. I kind of figured that out I pieced that together just from how you've talked about it on Twitter, just how you mentioned stuff and how because you mentioned I've got this stuff. right, and you've mentioned I've got my 4 things lined up that I'm going to watch and things like that.
Yeah. So, as far as watching the flat Earth debates, I did occasionally when they were on non-sec. I think I've done one since they've been doing them on Modern Day Debate, but I don't go looking for them. It's one of those things that just overall it doesn't interest me because it's about as dead of an issue as you can have.
Right. Yeah. It doesn't interest me at all. And you know what I've found that you found too is at any given time I've got like 15 or 20 YouTube videos lined up, and I don't get to most of the stuff I want to watch anyways. That's why I've never bothered with Flat Earth, because I've got about 5 or 6 on any given day. There's at least 2 videos I want to watch.
Yeah, just on my watch list, I've got 3 watch lists on YouTube. One's got 50-something videos, one has 25 videos, and then the third one is 16 hours worth of lectures on Old Testament prophecy that I was sent by Dr. Josh.
Oh, that's cool. Who's that? That's not Christine Hayes, is it?
No, it's not. That's the girl. I'm sorry. That's the professor from Yale. Isn't that who that is?
Yes.
Yeah. No, that's not her. And I've actually watched a lot of her stuff before too.
Yeah, I watched that.
I'll send you a link to one of them. I'll send you a link.
Yeah, you can send me the link. I'll check that out. See, but that's the thing. I've got endless backlogs of stuff to watch. So Flat Earth, I don't really have time. Sorry, Flat Earthers. I love you guys, but I don't have time to watch your crap. I don't.
It doesn't interest me much.
No, it doesn't. So okay, now the other thing I was going to ask you: did you follow this? Did you follow this Hawk Nelson thing at all? Do you even know what that is? This celebrity deconversion?
I saw a headline about it on my phone because apparently it was big news, and somebody that I know named Craig Reed made a video about it the other day.
Well, it's not actually about it. I use that as a. What about the Brett and Link Ear Biscuits guys? Do you know who they? Did you know who they were?
No, and honestly, I didn't even know that they were tied to that until you mentioned it in your video, and I watched your video. And I actually
they're not really tied to it. They're the only through line.
No, I'm saying as far as like just like
celebrity
as far as them like just right. And I've actually got a video that I haven't watched yet that's in my watch list, and it's I think it's Cameron Bertuzzi, Mike Licona, and Braxton Hunter discuss it.
Yes, I watched a little bit of that.
Yeah, that's in my watch list. But
so, what do you make of this? You tell me. The real underlying question is, what do you make of it when these celebrities deconvert who are somewhat well known for being Christians? You didn't read his Instagram post by any chance?
I did. No, I did.
Okay,
I did.
Because it
Um,
wasn't as obnoxious as the Brett and Link. Like it was pretty straightforward. It was kind of like I didn't object to it. It was kind of like I'm not feeling it anymore. Wasn't that different from what you said? You know, I went to church and I had these questions and I'm not really feeling it anymore. And you know, I can't go on in clear conscience as a believer. And he even
yeah.
admitted that he was the one who pushed them to be more Christian and sell more records because he thought it was a good marketing angle. so so there
I
was some honesty in it. It wasn't like the other two. But okay, so tell me what you think. What's your impression of it, of celebrity
to me
deconvergence?
it depends on the reasons. Now, I'm gonna attack you very slightly here, but I know you're thick enough skin that you're gonna take it. I didn't like the thing in your video where it almost seemed like you were applying motives to them, and that could just be
To
me getting it misconstrued to the people deconverting so they could go hang out with the zombies at the parties, or the vampires, the party
Oh no,
vampires.
no. With those two, I'm yeah, no, I'm not applying a motive per se. I'm saying that that's a common story. You come out to LA and you make different types of friends, and those friends
Okay.
start changing the way you perceive everything.
That
It's
was
totally
just
different
that was
from
just a misunderstanding.
yeah. Go ahead.
Um, but I mean, to me, it depends a lot on the reasons. I mean, if it's something that you're not convinced of, then you're not convinced of it. I mean, do if you're doing it just because you don't like the image anymore, then I don't agree with that. Um, I mean, I don't know. I don't keep up with really celebrities deconverting. Like,
Right, but then
there was
what
a
you
big
just
thing
said is
about
kind
Brad
of what
Pitt being a
what's
Christian again, and I was like, I don't really care.
Brad Pitt being a Christian again? I didn't even see
Yeah,
that one. Which one was
yeah.
that?
Apparently he this was probably 8 or 9 months ago, somewhere around in there. Yeah, apparently he was an atheist agnostic because he was just mad at everybody and wanted to look like a rebel. That's what he said. But I mean, I don't care what other people think. I mean, I get along with everybody as long as you're not, you know, evil. I
Right.
guess I can say that.
I didn't
So
realize
as
that
far
Brad Pitt.
as
I didn't realize we got Brad Pitt. So we lost Hawk Nelson, but we acquired Brad Pitt. I'll trade Brad Pitt for Hawk Nelson any day of the week. Nobody cares about Hawk
yeah,
Nelson.
but on the
It's
back
so
end of
different.
it though, on the back end of it though, you've got Kent Hovind. So
Yeah, but you know, you guys have God. I can name some names. I won't even go there, JB. I won't even start naming names of the embarrassments of your squad because I just won't
they're
do it.
on they're on both sides, and I put it out on Twitter today. Two people were having an argument about atheists and Christians doing this to each other, and I stepped in and I said, let me help out. Atheists have done crappy things because of their
I saw
beliefs.
that. Wait, I saw you step
Christians have
in.
done crappy things because of their beliefs. Let's just be better people. I mean,
Right. And then he got on your case. I think he thought you were a Christian. Didn't he start saying to
yeah,
you?
yeah,
Didn't
it's
he?
weird. I've been in multiple Twitter conversations today alone where I've been defending Christians.
And people
It's,
think you're a Christian once you do it, right?
yeah,
It's a sign,
yeah,
JB. It's a sign from God.
yeah. Uh, there's a lot of hurdles for me to get there. I've said it before on Twitter. I'll say it now on your live stream. There's a much better chance of me going polytheist than there is Christian.
Well, you could start there. You talk to Ocean. Tell Ocean. You could start as pub Ocean. Tell Ocean to listen to this. Ocean, get him on board.
Polytheism just makes a
You
lot
could
more
tie to the
philosophical
Craig
sense to
Reed
me.
channel as a polytheist. I have that caveat, or an atheist actually. So you could give me money as either an atheist or a polytheist. So if that's a hurdle for you, don't you can feel comfortable.
Hopefully I can bring in enough subscribers and get you enough view time that we can get you up where you can start getting super chats going on.
Yeah, that would be awesome. What's your strategy for pimping out my channel? Let's hear it.
Um, I don't I don't know, because if GM Skeptic and Objectively Dan and Shannon and Paula Gia and Seth Andrews and
Yeah.
You got to get
and
Scott Clifton.
I will. Yeah. Tell when next time you chat with Scott, tell him to come on the channel.
That's who you got to get. You got to get a real celebrity, not an internet one.
Well, that could be done. That could actually be done based on where I live and connections out here. I thought I mentioned that in the video. I haven't yet.
Yeah, you did. You told me that your wife knew a bunch of famous people.
Yeah, I'm not at liberty to talk about it freely on air, but yeah, my wife has some pretty interesting connections. Let's just say that.
You got to get Brad Pitt on, Craig.
There you go.
You're kind of kidding around, Brad Pitt, but some of the names that I could potentially get are just as out there as that. Like some of the people who she's gotten checks from and not pals around with, but it's Malibu.
Yeah,
it's Malibu. It's where everybody lives.
It's where
all the it people.
Well, it's just
all right. Craig went out there to win souls.
It's weird that just the regular culture out here. You meet, prior to me moving out to California, I'd never ever interacted with a celebrity, like never seen one in real life. And then when I worked down here at the Malibu Radio Shack, like one a day at least of anybody you could think of, like anyone, Schwarzenegger, Tom Hanks, people. There's just a lot of celebrities that just kind of walk around like normal people here. So,
yeah.
All right,
it throws
Craig,
you at first. What?
I gotta head out soon, so if you want to wrap up.
Okay. Are there questions?
I don't think so. We did get a lot of. Well, I don't know. There wasn't much to. You guys kind of went over a lot of really cool stuff though. But we did get a lot of different people in the chat. We got Deconverted Man, Steven Steen, Darth Calculus, Slam RN or Susan, Spartan Theology. Yeah, we got a whole lot of people. Puck, Digital Hammurabi.
Oh, cool.
A lot of people in the chat. Yeah.
So JB's a big draw. Did JB
yes, he is.
Did he bring us a big audience? He brought us the big names, that's for sure. Puck, Slam RN, he brought us the big names. Marquee names, that's for certain. But did he get us the numbers? So he's telling me he's going to get my channel up to 1,000 subscribers.
How many subscribers are you at now?
300. I don't want to talk about it.
Why are you not at 1,000? Why are you not there?
I think it has something to do with proper channel hygiene. Like I don't do tags and thumbnails and all the search engine optimization, all the stuff that you're supposed to do, because I don't really have time to figure it out. And I just assumed at some point I'm gonna hire someone who does it or who will do it.
I'm gonna tell you the difference between the Christian channel and the atheist channel draws. Okay, you ready? Shannon had 5,000 subs before she made a video.
What?
Well, that's because but that's because she streamed on
yeah, I know. She was a known Steve stuff and
she was known on. She was a known entity on Apologia. She was on that a lot. So when she first had her channel, she had 1,000 subs. Right, the first day she had her channel, she had 1,000 subs. Atheist stuff grows faster too. There's a lot more atheist activity here, and I'm convinced that they're more cognizant of the things like algorithms and playing videos all the way through, and they play the videos all the way through a few times to boost the views and things like that. I'm convinced that they help each other out. And Christians are just being Christians don't. They're dense. Did I say that out loud? Oops.
We went kind of long. Sorry to keep y'all so long.
No, it's fine. It was fun. So are we still on air, John, or do we have questions for Mr. JB or no?
No.
Yeah, we're still on air, but we can ask for questions if anybody has them for him.
Come on, get him in.
Anybody?
Were you gonna say something, Craig?
No, I'll tell him when we get off air. I was to see if it doesn't seem like JB has all this much free time, but something I thought he would be good at. I was going to offer.
We got a question from our resident troll, Steven Steen.
Oh gosh.
Can you guys see that? I don't know if you even have it.
I can't. I'm not watching it.
Why?
Is it a GIF?
BBC sauce is the worst. Why South Carolina Why vinegar BB sauce? Something barbecue sauce. Why is South Carolina barbecue sauce so bad?
Where are you even reading South Carolina? It says vinegar. Craig, can you even read?
I don't have my glasses on, so I can't really see it.
All right.
As far as barbecue sauce goes, I'm actually a ketchup-based barbecue sauce kind of guy. I don't do the local stuff, but the mustards and the vinegars.
Wow.
Vinegar based. What is vinegar? I've never even heard of that. That sounds like it could be good. Is it good?
Yeah. No, I'm not a fan of it.
And we got another question.
I do ketchup based.
Why is JB still only a level 6 GIF master while I'm all the way to level 9?
Because he doesn't learn. You put out the better GIFs, and he just doesn't grow. He sees himself losing the GIF war, and he just doesn't shift focus or do it. He does the same things over and over again. That's why. If you're asking me, JB, why don't you answer? Why are you not as good at the GIF wars as Steven? That's a question.
I am. If you, I can send you the things. I mean,
no,
John Buck was there last night.
We've all seen that,
dude. John Buck was there last night. I'll send one.
Yeah, and he sent me a DM.
We get 6 in.
You don't even want to.
We
see
get
the DM
6
he
in.
Sent me. He said
we get 6 in, and then we get 6 into these GIF wars, and then Steven Steam just runs away. I mean, it's about trying to get on your channel. I mean, they just run away.
But John Buck said to me last night, JB is getting hosed in this GIF war. That's what he said in the DM. Said, So the challenge, Steven Steen is saying he's better at it than you are.
Let me show you the compassionate atheist here. John Buck, I'm not going to disclose our private messages with
Thank
Craig.
you. I was just about to yell at Craig for that. Man. Yeah. I thought what is said in private can be kept in private, Craig. Jeez, man.
Well, but you want, it's about time you told him to his face that you think he loses every time. About time you just said it, John, just say it. He can take it.
Go back and watch some of the ones that Steven and I did today when the two of us were trying to ask an atheist about their position.
Ooh, nice. Yeah, I'll have to check those out. Oh, hey, Caleb just showed up. Yes, you are late, Caleb.
Yeah, very late.
We're about to close it down, Caleb.
About to close up shop. You got to have JB.
I do want to get
on
back
channel.
I do want to. I sent Caleb a thing the other day. Told him I wanted to go back and talk to him because I had a couple problems with his problem of evil solution video that he put out the other day, and I got to throw some atheist fireballs at him.
Yeah, I saw that. He DM'd me and said he's scared.
Jeez, you're just throwing everybody under the bus, Craig.
I have to do it, John. I can't help it. I got to be honest. He DM'd me and said, "What am I going to do? JB's coming to get me with atheist fireballs, and I'm really scared. I don't know how to handle them." I said, "I'll handle it. Don't worry."
Did you real quick? Because I know John's got to wrap it up. Did you listen to my video I have with Caleb?
Yeah, I was there in the chat. I was
there in the chat too.
I was at work while I was doing it, so I wasn't able to chat as much. But I think I sent a question or something there.
Yeah, because I remember I talked to John afterwards and asked him how I did because that was my first extended stream on anything. And he was like, "I did pretty good, bouncing around from topic to topic. It's been hard to keep up." Because I think Caleb and I covered a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you were awesome. You were really good.
And today I want to apologize. I had a rough beginning. I'm still getting the hang of this YouTube stuff. Freeze up every once in a while on there. But
yeah,
no
worries. It was just funny. Tell us about yourself. Oh, the show is devoted to you. Oh, I'm on YouTube. Okay, I'm on Twitter. I'm JB. Yeah, tell us about yourself. That's why you're here, guy. No, it's fine. Yeah. No, you were fine.
Yeah.
You just, I knew you were going to be nervous. That's it's just part and parcel of you got to work it out. You got to be on a few of these and get the feel of it, and then you start to get more in the swing of things. So
yeah, still getting my feet under me, but I'd like to start doing more, having more discussions, and tearing down more theist arguments, winning people to the dark side.
Yeah.
Are you going to start a YouTube channel at some point?
I don't know. I've thought about it. I've pitched the idea around. I wanted to start doing a weekly stream with Craig, but he told me no.
You didn't say that to me. I would have actually.
I did say that to you.
When did you say that?
I don't remember. It was in DM. Now look at me. I'm giving away our DMs.
No, that was a dick pic, dude. That was. It was embarrassing. No, I don't know.
I told you I wanted. No, remember I told you I wanted to. I told you I wanted because we didn't exactly come up with the format, but you and I were. We did a quick discussion on doing debate reviews.
Oh, okay. No, because I have an idea that I was gonna tell you once we go off stream.
Yeah. So no, you can talk to me off stream. But yeah, because I wanted to do a thing with Craig doing debate reviews because we constantly see these debate reviews and Craig does them a lot with SJ and nothing against anything that they're doing. And then you see, other people on the other side doing them with their posses. But I think having somebody sit down, one from each side, and kind of doing a debate review together would kind of, bring something new.
We could. Does this format work with this channel, John? Can you do call-up debates with your tech?
I think so. Like what you can do is share screen.
We'll just fire John and hire a new producer. It's okay.
Like that, and then you can press play. Does that work? Did that work? Can you guys hear that?
Press play. Let's see.
Yeah, I don't hear anything.
You don't hear it? I think I have to share audio as well. I'm not sure how to do that. But anyway, yeah, that's a way that you can do it so that if you want
we're troubleshooting the channel live on air. This is great.
Yeah, we can wrap it up if you guys want to, and then I'll talk to JB off air.
Yeah. All right.
So JB,
right,
you want to take us home? You want to tell us, who you are, why you're on Twitter, where people can find you, why they want to find you, and then tell us about your experience, and then say goodnight.
You can follow me at JBTweets83 if you want to follow me on Twitter. I'm on Twitter just basically to have discussions pretty much on any topic. There's a very good possibility that I will reply to you strictly in GIFs without any words attached to it. And I mean, I'm open for discussions whenever. So, I mean, if you want to have one, come to me. I try to have discussions and not debates, and find common areas for dialogue. So that's me in a nutshell.
Yes, that is him in a nutshell, guys.
And we are headed out. So with that, bid y'all farewell.
Excuse me.
And we will wrap the stream.
And
Cut it.
We are off.